Citation on Professor Hart O. Awa. Hart O. Awa was born at Target Street near Calabar Zoo over 5 decades ago as the 5th child, but second son of the family of 7 children of Chief Okori Awa Ume, late, and Ezine Comfort O. Awa. Hart is happily married to his wife, Mrs. Florence O. Awa, and the marriage is blessed with 2 very wonderful children, Nana O. Awa, a medical student, and Comfort Zara O. Awa. He is, of course, a core native and aborigine of Epem Ohafia local government in Abia State, and had his primary school cut across Epem Ohafia, Epem Primary School, and Enugu. Leobi Primary School, Owani, and Achara Layout Primary School, Achara Layout. He proceeded to Ohafia High School, Ohafia, in 1981 to 1982 academic session, and sat for and passed to West African Examination Council in 1986. In 1988, Hart was admitted into the National Diploma Program in Marketing at the Federal Polytechnic Nekede, Owerri, where his commitment to academic excellence and sanctity earned him a title or nickname Prof by his colleagues, lecturers, and admirers. Perhaps those people were in the spirit, unveiling Hart's word ahead of time. In 1990, Hart gained a direct entry admission in Department of Management Studies, University of Calabar, and graduated in 1994, courtesy of the long ASU stipend, with BSc Honors in Management Studies, major Marketing, and minor Management. In addition, Hart holds MSc from Abia State University, MBA and PhD Consumer Behavior from University of Port Harcourt at different times. Hart debut experience in teaching and research spans November 1999 at the Federal Polytechnic Nekede, Owerri, where his academic record and further inquiries about him precipitated the then rector, Dr. C.N. Osoji, to give a marching order to the then head of Department of Marketing, late Mr. E.E. Anozie, to look for Hart wherever and hire him in preparation for accreditation of programs by National Board for Technical Education. Mr. Anozie and his lovely wife graciously drove down to Port Harcourt to convince Hart to make career in academics. Similar scenario took place in 2005 when Professor Dom M. Baridam, his enviable academic father, assumed office as the 6th Vice Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt. We would rarely imagine how a sitting Vice Chancellor of unique Uniport, Professor Dom M. Baridam, visited Hart at Federal Polytechnic Nekede, Owerri, sat in humility with him in his then rat hole office, talked him into joining the Department of Marketing, University of Port Harcourt, and got that consummated on the 15th February 2006, when he was finally hired as a lecturer grade 1. Hart became a senior lecturer in 2013, associate professor in 2016, and full professor in 1st October 2019. By his grace, Hart is a seasoned, visible, and coveted faculty and professor of marketing, digital and interactive marketing in the Department of Marketing, Faculty of Management Sciences, University of Port Harcourt. Besides being the current Associate Dean of Faculty of Management Sciences, Hart has served and still serving University of Port Harcourt in different capacities. He teaches courses and supervises graduate and undergraduate students, and serves as an external examiner to many Nigerian universities, including University of Calabar, Ignatius Ajuri University, Veritas University, Covenant University, Michael Opera University, University of Abuja Business School, and Niger Delta University. Two of Hart's former students who drank effectively from his robust scholarly wealth and wit are now full and very vibrant faculties and professors today. One in Nigeria and the other, whom he taught at the Federal Polytechnic Nekede, is at University of Bedfordshire, Luton, United Kingdom. Hart is passionate about research and a big believer in editorial peer review process. He sits in editorial and review board of many elitist journals, which includes Emirate Journal, Wiley Journal, Elsevier, Taylor and Francis Journal, and Saga Journals. He consults for a number of corporate organizations with special passion for the startup and was mentored and shaped on that by Professor Don N. Baridam, the MD of Chevron. The Vice Chancellor, sir, and the audience, may I humbly introduce to us Professor Hart Okori, a professor of consumer behavior and interactive marketing, a prolific and visible writer, a consummate and erudite scholar who has continually distinguished himself in different academic fora, and a scholar with a lovely family of one wife and ecological children and many postdoc children. Let's welcome one of the most cited scholars within his academic neighborhood, Professor Hart Okori.
The Vice Chancellor, sir, the ninth Vice Chancellor, Professor George Owerari, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Administration, our brother from Accounting Department, Professor C.O. Oporom, my dear brother and a passionate friend, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic, Professor Kingsley Owete, my distinguished professors here, heads of department, directors of institutes, the Associate Dean, School of Graduate Studies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me thank God especially for making this day. Let me also thank God for our dear Vice Chancellor. I have been in this university for some time, even when we started this public lecture series. I doubt whether there has been a series that we held here that our able Vice Chancellor didn't feature. And I'm sure that mark of love that he has continuously shown to the faculty is also being identified in his administration. If you check very well, you see our faculty has always been represented in this administration much more than any other administration. The topic we will be talking about today is a topic that everybody will assume that he or she knows. And one problem we have in marketing is that everybody assumes to be a marketing person, even those on the streets. And what everybody knows, nobody knows it. Even those of us that teach, we assume that we know just a little out of it because everybody assumes to know it. Now, that is why I coined this topic. Marketing concept, is it radiation animated for the 21st century? I'll tell one or two stories that will really guide our thinking while we discuss. If you remember the Henry Ford, the Ford Motors. Henry Ford, many years ago, launched a brand of automobile they called Model T. And that Model T only appeared in black color. There was no white, there was no green, there was no other color other than white, I mean black. And that, because of the performance of that Model T, it was sweeping the market. Everybody wanted to identify with it. The purchase was there, the warehouse was always clear. But after a while, General Motors, who was supposed to be the direct competitor the direct rival to the Ford Motors, was almost like closing. They said if they closed their shop, and they were forced into retooling. And before you know it, they began minimizing production. And after a while, there was a question. They said, do we need to continue like this? It was on that note they hired a new general manager, who, upon assumption, he said, let's go into research and development so that you understand the importance of research in everything we do. This research was commissioned, and at the end of it, the outcome of that research led to what we now call market segmentation. Because they realized that people were not as much informed as expected, and that was why they decided to key into what we call mass marketing. That is seeing the entire market with one marketing program. That was why black was produced, no white, no blue, no other color. Now, what the outcome of that research was that people show different responsiveness to various marketing programs. And that was what led to the manufacturing of Cadillac, Pontiac, and Chevrolet. And they come in different body shells. Some came in black, some came in yellow, some came in blue, like that. And before you know it, by the time they hit the market, everybody felt that they were fully recognized. Before you know it, the Ford Motors that was hitting the market now went into retooling. There was an exchange. This one that was retooling now, came back. And before you know it, everybody began liking the things that General Motors produced. And that was what we celebrate today as market segmentation came to be. Because they now realize that people show different responsiveness. What I like Professor Guji is wearing white today. That's what he likes. I am wearing blue. Some other person is wearing the other thing. But if we stick everybody to black, there is a certain tendency that, we are not respecting the consumers. Now, that is it. That is it. Now, if you look at it from here, now look at these people. You see, all of them, they are backing themselves. That is the assumption of the Fordists. Give him what he can pay, produce what he can do, and allow him buy. You can use some incentive to force him to buy, what we call hard selling, forcing. Somebody can ordinarily force you to buy what you never intended buying. That is hard selling, forcing you. Now, you can see the way they are balancing. This one is like this one is like this. Provided you give me, I'll take. But I'm not interested in what you do. If your business fails, it is your business. The moment it fails, I go to the next one and buy. Now, let's take a look at this one. You see, this one, they are coming together. Everybody is bringing everything together to help the organization grow. You can see discussion going on. This discussion is made up of the producer, the consumer, and other value chain members. Everybody thinking that what we are doing is something that we need to do collectively and have a mutual benefit. Now, if you look at it, that is it. That is the 21st century approach. So that by the time we blow, you can know where we're heading to. That is the approach. Now, if you look at this too, you see the firm and the consumer. The point of interface is very small there. That is the old marketing concept. And I will tell you that when they were doing this, the assumption was that you can use what you call market research, you can use what you call marketing research, you can use maybe different kinds of old traditional ways of doing things. But one thing is certain. It could be possible for me to carry out an investigation about your need structure today. By the time I come back, you are now a president and your new structure will change. Is it possible? It will change. And when we talk about market research or marketing research, sometimes we will assume that they are the same. They are not the same. When we talk about market research, we are talking about buyer need analysis, identifying the specific needs and wants of the people. But when you turn it around to marketing research rather, that is when the product is already in the hands of the consumers. We are carrying out investigation to find out whether the various marketing programs are doing well, whether the price is so high that the consumers cannot pay, whether the promotional mix is not persuasive enough to convince the people, whether the distribution is such a difficult thing that consumers cannot distribute. So the essence is to keep improving, and that is why it's an endless thing. But one thing is that it will be softer when we come down to this world. You can see the level of interface is more in the 21st century. Now the consumers are now producers. The consumers are now partners. The consumers are now collaborators. Because the 21st century has come with a lot of changes. The way we communicate, the way we relate, the way we interact amongst ourselves has completely changed. And of course, remember that the world is now flat. If you read the work of Thomas Friedman, even though a lot of people have actually critiqued him, he says the world is flat, and it goes along with globalization. And because globalization and the world is flat, they are operating on the same plane. So you can see that what I do today, I may find markets in the United States. I know about somebody who has just an online shop. He ships fish to the United States. Every now and then, people are ordering. They don't know him. They've not seen him eyeball to eyeball. But every now and then, he goes, you see him rooting around. He's looking for where they will sell fish, ship for him. When he gets it, he ships it. In 2 days' time, he gets his money. So that is it. Let's take a look at where we want to move now. This is the world, the knowledge economy, where informed research brings knowledge and power, where knowledge and power brings innovation and competitive advantage, and where innovation and competitive advantage sustains income. When we talk about competitive advantage, it is very important in our discipline. And we can't talk about it without remembering Michael Porter. You can't talk about it. If Michael Porter said it is your responsibility as a businessman, not just a marketing person, that you build some uniqueness, distinctiveness in your product. And such distinctiveness should be such that it has customer endorsement. It also creates a capability gap. It's also difficult to be copied. In other words, what he's saying is that no matter how you try to innovate, if the customers do not give approval, if it does not satisfy their needs and wants, you may fail. But if it is not something that your opponent can easily copy, he said they will copy, just like the VC says that others are copying, but they can't get them. So they can copy, but copy at a very high cost of production. And when they copy at a very high cost of production, you know the implication, they hit the market with a high price, which is frustration. Is it not? When they hit the market with a high price, that still keeps you on top. So, and that's exactly what Michael Porter said. Now, he said, now, similarly, there is customer resistance to propositional and conformance values. When we talk about propositional conformance values, we are talking about values from the producer's point of view. The same thing that we are saying. In marketing, we talk about perceived value and conformance value. It is the perceived value that you convert to conformance value if you really want to succeed. In other words, if your conformance value is such that it satisfies you as a firm, you will not get there. But the perceived value is the value seen from the producer's point of view. So that propositions that we normally make, as just like if you take it back to the 40s attraction, where Henry Ford produced only one brand of automobile and in black. So that is propositional values, that is conformance value, because it was not tailored to satisfy the consumers, otherwise the other people wouldn't have obtained them. So you can see that because there is non-conformist consumer dynamism, similarly consumers resistance to propositional and conformance value relates to intelligence failure. Thus, non-conformist, consumer dynamics and creativity, post-modernist habits, and passive voice, irate and antagonist and activist movement of consumerism are critical processes that offer new opportunities and market values that emphasizes on personalized and dynamic idiosyncrasies. Because the way we are going about now is that if we build our marketing concept in such a manner that customer forms part of us, you bring some ideas, these ideas we can convert to products that will have some personal implication. Sometimes they can bring out some customized ideas that we can deliver customized products. And when we deliver customized products, there is tendency that we may charge premium price. Is it possible? Is it possible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is very typical in the late 21st century and late 20th century and the 21st century. These 2 centuries or these 2 periods are the period we have found so much changes in our business cycle, leave our family cycle, so much changes to the extent that management, as a matter of fact, we need to try to continue to build on our experiences in order to keep what we call strategic windows continually open. When we talk about strategic windows, we said when there is a match between the firm, the offering, and its environment. That is what Ebel said. If you read the work of Ebel 1977, he said something about strategic windows. So you can see that scholars and all that, they say market endorsement and ultimately competitive advantage inform defining market in terms of consumers, their needs, and technology to deliver the satisfaction. So you can also see that. Well, let me go down there. Okay, you can see that Michael Kotler posits that organizations align their program to suit the level of customer expectations from their offering, that is from core value, core product, what we call core product, what we call tangible product, and also augmented product, which is what we said a product has 3 different parts. Now, this affirms that the consumers and its needs serve as a sign-notion to managerial decisions. Those thoughts. Though understanding his complexities and the value proposition has foundational ties with economics, dates back to the 18th century scholarship, and grows robust in the 21st century by leveraging on stakeholders' knowledge and skill to social ends. So you can see that from the 18th century, the period of industrial revolution, to the mid-20th century, that the era of Fordism, market offerings were predominantly at the instance of paranoid and functionally siloed, solo operation. The organization decides what it does, and like I said, he does hard selling, and that is the good dominant logic. The period that the product is only produced, and because it is good dominant logic, it can attract word-of affair. You deliver the product, you are not interested whether the man comes back or not. Like some of these 419 people, you know, when they hit you, they're not expected to come back. So that is it. So you see, value in exchange. You are just getting value in exchange and operant resources. When we talk about these operant resources, we are talking about situations whereby the individuals are not brought into focus. You just decide on what you want to do and go ahead and keep doing it. But when you talk about operant, Operant has to do with ingenuities of people. This one ends with T, this one ends with D. So operant deals with ingenuity of people, but this one doesn't do. The emphasis is just good dominant logic, different from service dominant logic. Because when we talk about service dominant logic, we are now saying that everybody in the production process, everybody that has to benefit from the product should be part of the process. The consumer, the dealers, the wholesalers, everybody must be part and parcel of what we are doing. So you can see that further the rigidity and oversimplified economic man of the 19th century. Sorry, I needed to put a question there. When you look at that first slide, that first bullet, it says these put the functionalities of the marketing concept on edge. Then we say further, the rigidity and oversimplified economic man of the 19th century again queries MC. MC is a marketing concept. And the late 20th and 21st century recalibrated marketing concept via customer empowerment and expropriation of its ingenuity through communitarianism, relational, service dominant, value in use, operant, and two-way flow of museums gift giving. One of the things is that when we talk about some of the things we talk about in marketing, this museum, he deals with exchange of gifts. And he's saying that if by applying it here is that the consumer has gifts that you give to us as producers. If we deal with it, those ideas and ingenuities that is going to give us free, they are gifts that will lead to production, that will enable us build competitive advantage. They are gifts. So at the end of the day, you see that before these dialectics, traditional consumer orientation provide a pedestrian customer insight into the contemporary complex network organization, because the arsenals, the marketing concept, the market research, the marketing research, the market focus, the 4 P's, they really pursue sustainable competitive advantage. They really, because they really pursue sustainable competitive advantage, customer dynamics, and mutual interaction. Even though when we teach, we deal with this and celebrate them, but we need to also be for. Because the issue of the consumer dynamics, the issue of computer, the issue of interaction that is holding on today has actually made these things more like old approach to marketing. So you can see that even when some of the marketing migrants who left the United States to go to the German historical school to study in the 19th century, by the time they came back, they began to challenge the organizations that were treating the consumers as morons. How do you treat them as morons? These are the people that have some ingenuities that could be of importance to you. Now, you need to treat them not as morons, but also as spouse. You know how the spousal relationship, you need to treat them as spouse, not as morons. So, however, the consumer is a super complex entity who really understands himself and how to verbalize his aspiration clearly. Now, the quest to build such malady, the quest to build and such malady, how to cope with the market ideological resistance and other dynamically enveloping state of nature often throws some scholars and practitioners into jungle in search of the best philosophies that tell the furthest capitalism or provide insight into knowing the consumer better and expropriating his world for common goods. One thing we need to know is that what the consumer brings to us is for common good. It will be of benefit to him, it will also be of benefit to us. Sometimes when the consumers build some kind of community, when they mention communitarianism, they build a community and begin to market the product for yourself, for themselves, for you. And it's often noticed that when the consumers market the product, it is more credible than when you pass your message. It is assumed more credible. So that is why you need to work with them. That is why their input could help to, animate the marketing concept.